Hello guys and welcome to Spanish Listening. Today we're going to continue with our series on false friends. This is part 3 of this series. Remember we have 4 parts, so make sure you also watch parts 1, 2, and 3. And also I would like to remind you to subscribe to our channel to watch more videos like this one. So without further ado, let's get started. Well, this is part 3. By now I hope you have already watched parts 1 and 2. If you haven't, then you may not know what false friends or falsos amigos are. Let me tell you again what these words mean. Falsos amigos or false friends are words that have a common origin, and because of that they look very similar, so they may make you believe that they mean exactly the same when in reality they have completely different meanings. And I think that the best way to clarify that is by using an example. So for example, here we have the word largo in Spanish, which looks very much like the word large in English, but in reality they have different meanings. If you were to translate this word into English, the word largo, that is, the correct translation would be long. So not exactly the same as large. And if you want to say large in Spanish, you wouldn't say largo because, as we said, largo means long. The real translation for large is grande. So that's what this is about. So as you can see here, we have these other words, lectura, which sounds very much like lecture, but in reality they are different words, or they have different meanings. Librería is not the same as library. Molestar is not the same as molest. No del todo is not the same as not at all. Parientes and parents, different things. Preservativo and preservative, not the same. Quitar, not the same as quit. And realizar is not the same as realize. So what I want you to do is try to answer this exercise. Complete this table with the right translations of these words in both in English and in Spanish. Pause the video now and resume it when you're done. Okay, if you are done, let's check your answers. So the first word is lectura, which is not the same as lecture, as we said. Lectura means reading in English, so reading. And on the other hand, lecture in Spanish is not lectura, as we said. So lecture could be called a charla or a cátedra. So these are good ways to translate the word lecture in Spanish. Next up, we have librería, which is not the same as library. In Spanish, librería is the place where you buy books. So this would be a bookstore. Whereas the word library in Spanish, that would be a biblioteca. So this is the place where you can only go there to read a book. You have to be very quiet, you know. Next up, we have molestar and molest. Molestar means to annoy somebody or to irritate a person because of your behavior or whatever. In English, the word molest has sexual connotations, so the best way to say this in Spanish is abusar sexualmente. Next, we have no del todo, which is not the same as not at all. When you say no del todo in Spanish, that means it's not as extreme as not at all. It means you don't like that or you don't do that, but you can do it if you have to. So for example, if somebody asks you, do you like chocolate? And you answer no del todo, that means, well, I don't like it very much, but if I have to eat it, that's okay, I can do that. So this is more like saying not much or not quite. And as you can see, these two versions, not much and not quite, are not as extreme as saying not at all. If you want to say not at all in Spanish, you have to say para nada. Or you can also say no en lo absoluto. So this is like saying absolutely not. Next up, we have the words parientes and parents. Parientes are the members of your family, so these are your relatives. And on the other hand, we have the word parents. In Spanish, these are called your padres. So that means mom and dad. Preservativo, very different from preservative. In Spanish, preservativo is a condom. And if you want to say the substances that they add to food so that it lasts longer, well, in Spanish these are called conservadores, and they can also be called conservantes. I think conservantes is more used in Spain. In Latin America, we tend to use more conservadores. Then we have the words quitar and quit. Quitar means to remove or to take off when you talk about your clothes. Like, for example, me quiero quitar el suéter porque hace mucho calor. I have to take off my sweater because it's too hot. So this would be remove or take off. You can also use it in the meaning of remove, like if you say quita esas cajas de ahí, remove those boxes, for example. And when you want to say quit in Spanish, you can say renunciar. If you're talking about your job, like I quit my job last night or whatever. And if you want to talk about a bad habit that you have, like I need to quit smoking, in that case it would be dejar de. So this is similar to saying stop. I have to stop smoking. Tengo que dejar de fumar. And finally, we have the words realizar and realize. Realizar in Spanish, in English, that means it's very similar to the verb do. Like we have to do or make, in fact. Like if we say tenemos que realizar algunos cambios, we have to make some changes. And if you want to say realize, so in Spanish, this would be darse cuenta. For example, me di cuenta de que cometí un error. I realized I made a mistake. Well, guys, I hope you liked this video. If you have any questions, make sure you ask them in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.